one is done, I think we can have some general questions also. But our first speaker, I'd like to introduce to my left, Thomas Griffiths. He's the Director of Information Services at Bellevue Hospital Center in New York. And according to our notes, he's been at the task since 1983, so he has many years of experience in the healthcare arena. It's a 1,200-bed tertiary care facility, and he was figured prominently in our article in the discussion about his wireless local area network and a project which has already realized some financial return. So please join me in welcoming Thomas Griffiths.
How do you do? Is this on?
Yes.
The slide's been up for a while, so while Bellevue does have 1,200 beds and we're certified to operate them, we've voluntarily reduced that to 750. It's better to operate beds that have patients in them than beds that don't. It's one of the truths that we'll see as we go through this. Bellevue is a fairly large complex. We have 3 campuses, over 2 million square feet. And I guess in this audience, I can show that we're increasing our IT spending to 3%. In some other forums, 3% is an embarrassingly low investment in IT technology. Part of our strategy is to invest in increasing the comfort level with technology and the knowledge and skill levels throughout the organization. So we do a lot of spending outside of the IT organization, and we actually have support people throughout the facility. I don't think the business challenges we face are a whole lot different than those other people face. We all scramble to make the bottom line survive. We're trying to figure out what we can do with electronic health and what kind of interaction we can promote with our partners. The IT directions that we're moving, I think, are also fairly similar. Thankfully, we've been able to move from ATM networking to gigabit and reduce some of our network infrastructure costs for the backbone side of it. And we're all very nervous about HIPAA. Our computing device policy has become an exciting venture that we'll talk about a little bit later when I follow further along slides. We got interested in wireless in the early 1990s, primarily for 2 basic reasons. They won't stay where you put them, and they won't do it that way long. Those are things we realized, or at least I realized quite a while back. We think these are good things. Our management promotes them. Change and being able to change processes in a timely fashion, bring new programs and new methods of delivering service to our patients quickly is an important thing. And IT used to be an inhibitor to that. So we had to look for ways to find solutions, and we started looking at wireless technology. 1995 is when we budgeted. 1996 was when we began to roll out wireless infrastructure at Bellevue. These are some of the reasons that we went through. The arrival of the 2.4 gigahertz frequency hopping technology really addressed some of the interference and security issues. I'm not adverse to stealing from other industries. In fact, I actively spend time with some of the brokerage houses. I participated with the New York Stock Exchange as a volunteer consultant when they evaluated wireless technology for the floor of the stock exchange. And that helped us get a comfort level with some of the security and potential interference problems. We timed it in conjunction with our computerized patient record project and budgeted $575,000 for our wireless network infrastructure. This is a basic slide on how we go about selecting vendors. We are a public facility. We do need to go through competitive bid processes, but we spend a lot of time writing things beyond the scope of functionality into our request for proposals. Those are some of our current partners. And we actively look at strategic directions for our partners. We include that as part of our business response to proposals. We had to convince people to put up that $500,000. That's always not an easy thing to do. In our organization, the first thing that we decided was if IT wasn't prepared to commit to it, we were going to have a hard time selling. So if you notice, most of the savings, the hard savings that we identified are based on straightforward items within IT. The new cable installs included the port costs on our ATM switches. It's part of the reason it's as high as it is. The soft benefits, we kind of tried to tease people with some of the opportunities that wireless would, and people were intrigued by them, but they weren't going to put up $500,000 based on it. So IT basically bought into that. I think in the handouts that you have, we also tacked in a Citrix server and an ability to deliver office automation to a lot of clinical workstations as part of helping with the return on investment CLV. Our implementation was not real exciting. Back in 1996, they didn't have a whole lot of those handheld, small, little wireless email devices that Gary was talking about. So we were focused on trying to get some things to happen fairly quickly. Our emergency room is a very busy place. We have a trauma medicine education program, residency program. And one of our concerns is that the emergency room was spread out, and we had a hard time getting registrations done in a timely fashion. We had a hard time getting people introduced to the system in a timely fashion. So we put wireless devices throughout the emergency room very quickly. We were able to reduce our emergency room treatment times by almost 20%, from 5 hours to 4 hours before a decision was made to admit or release the patient, in conjunction with some other changes. The big benefit there is that the patient was known to the pathology area, to the radiology area, to the patient information area almost immediately upon arrival at the facility. In our clinic area, we operate on-site, on campus, a substantial amount of clinic. We were putting 700 PCs out as part of our computerized patient record system. Our strategy was basically to automate the ambulatory care side first, because those were the records you almost never got your hands on in a timely fashion. The inpatient chart at least was reasonably close by. And so 25% of the 700 PCs that we put out in the clinics are wireless. That allowed, for example, in geriatrics and OB for registration clerks to take a portable device and just slide it along as patients sat in the waiting areas to do registration. We did have to re-engineer some of the waiting areas to provide some privacy. Those chairs sitting right next to each other was not a good place to conduct registration activities. ORs and respiratory care were next. We are operating SurgiWare's OR management system, for those of you who are interested, and we're doing intraoperative logging online in the ORs. And those devices have access to the full computerized patient record system. Respiratory care is doing the same thing with Amity devices. We're using Mallinckrodt's system, and the respiratory techs are able to get orders wherever they are in the facility. I don't know about your elevators, but we're a 23-story building. Healthcare elevators just don't work right ever. So not having to travel back to get new orders and to update records was a tremendous advantage. And we started piloting in labor and delivery net vision phones to try to see what we could do to replace pagers. And that's been received with sort of mixed blessings with some of the physicians. It tends to be intrusive, but others swear by it. Because they can actually get a hold of somebody instead of leaving messages or waiting for somebody to call back when they're no longer available to take the call. These are the areas we have plans for. Inpatient carts, we've ordered them. We've decided the cart format for physician rounding. The nurses are still debating the format. We're going to be doing this with full laptops. We're focusing on materials and equipment management. A lot of interest is on the clinical side of this, but we see a lot of the real dollar returns and a lot of the economic benefits to us on the materials and equipment management side. Those are easy FTEs, those are mature applications. You can generate some real savings